All right, now we're officially starting. Are y'all ready?
Woo! All I had to do was say a really horrible bad word, and then he restarted.
We won't tell you what that word is unless you subscribe to the Patreon. For one whole dollar, you can
And
cancel Logan.
It'll be
That's
encrypted.
a secret word. Don't tell anybody.
It'll be our Patreon exclusive secret.
But
There's
it
no
definitely
Patreon.
wasn't.
Logan didn't say a word. We're talking about Duergar this week. How y'all doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Doing all right, I guess.
All right.
I can't complain.
I can't complain, really.
You know who can't complain though to Duergar because they're bitter little boys down in the dark.
That's true.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. They're just like, everything.
Well, actually, I guess we should start with like you guys
the hell are
know
we
the
talking
origin of Duergar, right? Like
Yeah, but go ahead.
fucking basically just they were initially some normal dwarves and they just had this sudden urge to start digging into the earth deeper, and they were just like, damn, I know there's something good as fuck down there, so they kept going down.
Are you
I
telling
think
me
there
Mario,
was like a
they diggy the hole?
Yes.
diggy hole hold.
What were you gonna say, Logan?
There was a dispute because they're a type of the Duergar was a subclan of the Shield dwarves.
Yes.
Were just all the mountain dwarves, and they were like, "Yeah, we're going down to Goblin Town." And
No.
it kept going.
Yes.
I'm just saying an interesting little lore bit I noticed. Mordenkainen's opinion on them is considered that the Duergar began as homeless outcasts, and today their fortress are some of the most impenetrable strong points in the Underdark. The question might not be will they conquer the realm below, but when. So
That's a lot of confidence.
yeah, that's interesting.
I mean,
but also kind of sets up
Duergar,
an interesting thing of them digging might have been a necessity and less of a just a compulsion. Which
the whole reason they started to dig
there's a reason, but yeah,
was the whole reason they started to dig was like they're like going down and down, fucking like becoming exhausted and shit, like to the point where they're like, if people are dying, they're like throwing them to the side and shit. Like they're not even having burials or anything. It's just like, just go. And then finally, when they reach there, they stumble upon a bunch of illithids, and they fucking enslave them, turn them into like their little minions, give them all this bullshit, like start doing little experiments on them, and that's why they look so different and they can grow big and turn invisible is because of the psionics that they've unlocked.
My favorite thing about that whole circumstance is they abandoned all the other dwarves and were like, we're going down. And then they kept going down. And then all these little octopus people were like, come here, buddy. Gave them little hugs and they put them in cages. And they like abandoned all the shield dwarves, and now they hate the shield dwarves for not helping. Well, they're like, fuck you guys, you didn't help. It's like, you left. You said goodbye.
Because there's like different, throughout the editions, there's like different takes on it. One that I kind of like, just out of the idea of, I like seeing the kind of sad idea of, basically illithids sent out a message to these things. They suddenly got this urge of like, oh shit, we gotta fucking dig. So they started digging, and there was this idea of Moradin was like, oh, I'm gonna put a bunch of signs to try to stop you from digging, but they're like being mind controlled basically by illithids already. So
Moradin was one of their gods, right?
Yeah, Moradin is like the dwarf god.
Yeah, that's
and he and like basically
one.
And basically what happens is they finally like make it to the illithids. They get captured by the illithids, and what happens is Moradin's like, well, I did everything I could. Everyone disown these fuckers. If you see them, they're not one of us no more. So then finally, the only way that they break away from the illithids is like there's Lotiger, who makes Lotiger was one of the Duergar, and he eventually becomes their god. But he's basically, Lotiger ends up being like the savior of their people by basically making a pact with Asmodeus and deciding to like use that as a way to break everyone free. When they're finally free and they come back to the dwarves and they're like, guys, we're back. You won't believe the crazy shit that's happened. The dwarves are like, fuck you, idiot! You fucking left. Die! Like, so the Duergar are just like, well, fuck these assholes. We were in need, and they told us to go fuck ourselves. But from their perspective, it's like, you know, they got signs, and they, you know, couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, we couldn't touch them. So, and then later, during the spell plague, Lodger fucking dies. Like a lot of gods died during that. So then they had no gods, and then they're like, "Hey, so someone said something about Lodger talking to Satan. Can I get like a waiting list ticket? I want to talk to him too." So a lot of them
talk to the devil.
Yeah, I'll talk to the devil. I'll be the Lodger too.
I like this devil fella.
Now Satan's a name that I can trust.
I mean, who would name their child Lucifer if you couldn't trust them? I mean, come on.
Lucifer, I hardly know her.
I like his forked little tongue. He's got
His Asmodeus fella seems very nice, and I've never met a nice person that didn't have ill intent before.
Exactly.
That was.
But that's like.
Speaking of niceness, they don't have it.
No, they don't.
Yeah, that too.
The mean little dudes. That's the kind of version I heard, and I like adding the homeless level to it, of just maybe they were like this isolated, like weak, like in a bad place clan. And Illithids took advantage of that to drive them this compulsion, and just this madness drove them deeper and deeper.
I want to believe that they were impoverished and isolated because they chose to be. They're like, we don't need help from anybody. We can get all this like by the skin of our own teeth. And then the more they get isolated and the more they get deep-seated in these views, the less likely anyone was to help them when the events came about. So they were starving, they needed help, and the only thing there were Mindflayers, which is why they now have an augmented version of those beliefs. Like, just rejection of most of things.
I kind of like the idea of, like, for the Grey Dwarves, I like the grayness of the idea of, like, the thought that it's not necessarily. I like the idea of them being victims to an extent, where it's just like Moradin kind of decided to, he's stubborn as shit. So when the other dwarves try to come back and try to like explain themselves, like, I'm sorry that we did that, guys. We fucked up like real bad. They just don't let them have it. So I kind of like that idea, but at the same time, there's like other shit. Like I like also kind of the idea of, the reason they're so bitter and like fucked like that is because of that could also have to do with Mindflayer bullshit, where they fucked with their head that it's really difficult for them to experience happiness.
Yeah, or maybe rejecting, like in a weird nihilistic detachment. The ability to escape that they had, like, they were not able to escape if they clung to hope. So getting rid of that is why they were freed, and that's sort of why they have such rooted beliefs in.
That is,
we're sad.
That actually does. That plays more into, because that kind of plays into the thought of Lodger themselves. Because I know, like, some of the ideas that they have with Lodger is, you don't ask Lodger for help; you help yourself. So it's this thought of just being.
Oh yeah, Lodger is like, he was one of us, and he rose up and saved himself, and by proxy us, which means all of us have the ability to do that. So yeah, it's like a self-fulfillment. Okay, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool. I like that idea. There is, I know there's technically lore stuff of Duergar are like literally anti-fun culturally. I think that's kind of dumb, in my own opinion. But
I think they might have their own fun in the way that you see them in, because the Duergar are the deep dwarves in Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of Act 1.
You encounter a few of them.
So they do have the lightest idea of fun in the sense that they just get drunk and they be mean. They don't like
Yeah.
they're rude half intentionally. That's just how they are, and maybe they are happy because they're snarky at the very least.
Yeah, I'm thinking of them like
Yeah.
they're definitely the most warlike of any of the dwarven races, since generally my thought to them is Duergar are the closest to like a Warhammer race we have in D&D at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of they live for war and battle, and they have been touched by the beyond and completely scarred by it, so now their existence has pretty much been warped and tainted. And just
These fuckers would keep a book of grudges.
yeah.
Permanent vengeance
Yeah.
on the whole world.
And the fact that just like
That's
a really
shit.
Warhammer concept of them locking their some of their people, their psychics in machines, and their pain powers the machines.
Oh yeah.
That straight up is a Warhammer-esque idea.
You want to go into that idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
I know a little bit about it. I think you can fill in the gaps, Mario, where I don't know. But there's the Duergar Hammerers, which if you've never seen one of these things, they look absolutely gnarly. But they're basically rigged up in this big old like mechanized machine that constantly drills pain into them, like nearly like the ones in Warhammer or Star Wars, like Darth Vader's suit, where it's constantly stimulating pain, keeping them in a constant state of being on edge and anxiety. And they use that to keep their psychic powers just running this mechanized machine.
Pinhead. What kind of thing is he? Like the
Cenobite.
demons?
Oh, the Hellraiser thing. They're
Xenoblades.
no, they're
Xenobites. Xenobite. Xenoblade. Xenomorph. We got them all.
There's like
Ceno, like CEN.
Oh,
Xenobites.
Xenobites.
Ceno.
Cinnabits.
Cinema. They're the cinema.
They carry more pain than a terabyte.
Yeah, no, honestly, that kind of plays into that idea as well of like a kind of fiendish connection with some of the Duergar. I did something where I had like some stuff pop up of like Duergar in my setting using like fiends and shit as kind of a display of like, oh, look at how cool I am. I can summon fucking like devils and shit like that. And something that I did kind of play into that is that they had a barbed or chain devils and shit like that, which are very like Hellraiser-y.
Yeah.
I like how fucking mean some of their shit is, where it's like, it's not like a thing of like, oh, we're above everybody. It's very much just like, oh, we just fuck people over sometimes. Like, it's like, I like that thought.
It's all
of just,
selfish.
It's very selfish. It's like fucking literally put that fucker in the pain mine. So like it's you strap him into the pain suit.
It's like, not that the children yearn for the mines, it's that everyone yearns for the mines but me.
Yeah. And that's why I'm on top.
My favorite little detail about them is their like hierarchy is based in wealth. It's, oh, how much shit do I have? How cool am I? How strong am I? Because it's might matters. That's sort of they're like Noxus. So they don't give a shit about anyone lesser than them, which is really funny. It builds this hierarchy of like, oh, I'm above all those other whelps. And then the guy who has $1 less than him is like, fuck that rich piece of shit. I'm going to get so much more money than him. And it's this fucking cyclical battle.
They're very like fucking hungry for like, I mean, that kind of plays into like a lot of your ideals too, where it's just like, oh, my pockets are never fucking full enough. I've never killed enough of my enemies. Everybody's against me, and I'm gonna be on top. Kind of thing.
They're mean little dudes, and also, in all fairness, they're in the Underdark, one of the most hostile areas in the Forgotten Realms. So they kind of have no choice but to be. So imagine any issue they had just got exacerbated.
Like super jail down there.
If they're looking around for help and they run into the drow, that's only going to make them angrier. It's like, oh god, you're like normal elves, but worse.
It's like It's like you already have dwarves that fucking hate elves. Now you have the angry dwarf that super fucking hates elves.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like
hate
they come
angry
across-
elves.
Yeah, they hate the angry. The angry dwarves hate them. They fucking.
Is that what no sunlight does to you?
Yeah.
Everyone around
No
you just gets
sunlight
really
does to a
fucking
motherfucker.
mad.
Imagine
guys have
how
been-
depressed these
Touch
dudes
grass.
are.
It's funny that they can't go touch grass because their eyes would catch fire. Just the
These
like-
fuckers.
sunlight sensitivity.
These fuckers are stuck in their basement playing League of Legends all day. Just they have their
That's
they
their
have their
only
computers.
pastime.
They got a
They have
bunch.
the computers strapped in with fucking like pain machines. There's like a guy screaming that's powering it.
Every time you get like killed or lose a match, there's like a little thing on your mouse that stabs your hand. You're like,
Fuck!
No, I'm just imagining one of the people powering your device just straight dies, and that's lost a life.
you start lagging like crazy until you get another battery man in there.
There's like another. Yeah, they're all in a room with a bunch of fucking computers set up, and it's like, dude, what's up with your ping? And like the Duergar just starts punching his fucking computer. He's just fucking.
Sorry, you're the lowest person on our raid team, buddy. I'm sorry, we got to put you in a device to power it.
It's like a
it's worse.
6-person rotation, and each match, whoever has the worst KD just like goes in the battery. Okay, you
go
get
into
to
the pain
suffer all
machine.
next round.
No.
Hold on,
I
have to-
love.
I'm gonna go snap my dog's neck really quick. Give me 1 second.
Okay, yeah.
Very good.
I love the name, the pain machine. The
Michaela
fucking.
killed him for me.
Oh, okay.
I was about to
Thank
say, you did that so quick, I'm concerned you got like the flash going on right now.
Just in an instant, just fucking. You just hear this.
You want to see me kill my dog? Want to see
Want to see me?
Want to see me do it again?
Too bad he's fucking dead, you idiot.
Fucking
I
Yeah.
was another really cool thing is I'm fairly sure the idea of Soul Knife for Rogue actually came from the Duergar,
Yes, I think so too.
because
Oh,
that's the first time I saw it in 5e is there was Duergar Soul Knives, because Duergar, I don't think mages for them are common at all. It seems all of their stuff is like psionics, like they're probably
yeah.
one of the best races at psionics, like since it's so ingrained in their society. But
Something really fucking fun, and I've probably mentioned it on here before, but one of my favorite things to use Duergar for, I've like used it twice, but it's basically just have a Duergar with either Rune Knight or like the giant, the giant barbarian, and just have them go large, and then have their fucking enlarge reduce go off, and just make them huge, and fucking
Hell yeah.
just the thought of just Duergar being able to abuse shit like that. I like the idea of just using a Duergar and going harder in their psionic abilities. And that's why they have the fucking they do have like I think they're called soul blades or something like that, where it's like they just straight up have like swords that they fucking power psionic energy to.
yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
With
yeah.
like psionic rippling around them.
I think it was
Yeah.
called a Soul Knife when it first introduced, because it was in Out of the Abyss, so it was way before Natasha's one was even a thing.
Yeah. These fuckers have lightsabers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was an encounter you just see where you come onto a dock, and you just see two Duergar just pull energy knives out of thin air and just absolutely jabbing Noble to death.
I want
We need more of that.
a Duergar that's
In
just
media-
like
in
so
Minecraft.
powerful.
And
Yeah,
that
Minecraft.
Duergar's name was Luigi
Minecraft.
Mangione.
I want to
There's no
see
alliteration.
Duergar.
I wish there was.
A new name to unlocking Luigi mode. Or new meaning, I mean. But fucking I want to see like a full-on fucking Jedi-ish kind of Duergar where it's just like, yeah, they could just fucking push people and like fucking knock people around and shit. I like the idea of just like, oh, you fuck with the top brass of like their order or whatever. Fucking they're doing some
Like
crazy ass shit.
Duergar Sith Lords.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, actually, that'd be kind of sick.
You know, the Duergar hammer, it does have the big claw arm. And just to me, I feel like every claw arm should have a grapple function to it. So I just want to imagine that.
There's the Duergar Mindmaster that looks like a little evil Yoda.
It does.
I did. Do you know what the cadaver collector is?
Oh, I love the cadaver collector.
Yeah, it's a construct, right?
Yeah, I used one of those in my game, and what I turned it into was just there was some fucking arena battle thing, and there was like a Duergar team, and a bunch of them were like these fucking Duergar soul blade, whatever fucking dudes, and they had like a couple of the pain machines with them as well. But they had like a really big pain machine, and it was just a fucking cadaver collector, and they just had like a little like withered guy inside of there that was like powering the machine, and it just had like runes and shit around it that would activate like the specters and stuff that would come out.
Okay.
Fucking
that reminds me of in like the early Rick and Morty, that big dome covered in Mortys that are just being stabbed in like the liver constantly.
Oh yeah.
Just a not cadaver collector, but something that goes and finds survivors of war and just like tacks them on. Be horrifying.
It's fucking honestly.
Yeah, I kind of like that because hammer is something I wish was expanded a little more. Since a hammer, what's that CR?
I hardly know her.
It's not a high CR. It only has like 33 hit points, but
it's one at most.
Yeah, there's so much you could do with that, of just having like a bunch of Duergar like in a Warhammer-sized machine. I'd have the big, the absolute giant ones in Warhammer that are piloted by one person. If you just get a bunch of Duergar all slapped together, just Power Rangers, morph style, they're all just in a chest piece of. You see a small window of just like 5 Duergar all sitting in there like the Power Rangers, except they're all screaming.
That'd be such a weird like soundscape to fight in, like loud clanging and slams and just constantly.
Like, well, the thing that I would picture is just like you have like basically the engine revving up, so you hear this fucking just hard machinery at work. You just hear the screams get muffled. I would love it to be like this really eerie fucking almost brazen bull kind of idea of just like the screams turn into like a whole like it turns into this low kind of moan coming out of like the exhausts or whatever. It's
like an engine rumble.
Yeah, like a deep engine rumble. Like the idea of just like these fucking dwarves form a giant mechanical thing. And then the last dwarf goes in. He goes, and I'll form the dick, and
just sticks his feet into like a pain tube and just dangles there. Like,
he's casting spells.
Magic missile from my magic dick hole.
I just imagine it like the Serpoians from Don, where just like the pair of scissors just launches out.
Oh my god. Yeah.
One thing that is interesting, like all dwarves are artistic master craftsmen. I love that one. What is it? The guy who does the animations with the barbarian, the one My Sword, that video.
My Sword.
Oh yeah.
Was forged by autistic dwarves.
So you know it's good.
But Duergar are still fantastic craftsmen, but because they've rejected so much of their minds and like their hearts, all of their passions pretty much outside of greed, it's utilitarian dwarfcraft. So it's like Apple products, how just rounded they are and passionless and lifeless. There's no murals anywhere that don't depict war. So their hammers are probably just like, it looks like a 3D printed hammer, but it could kill you just as good as any other one.
I usually like to think of their buildings as like brutalistic kind of architecture, like just fucking
straight lines.
Yeah,
straight lines and everything.
They all look
Honestly,
like their modern day McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, brutalist McDonald's. There is a brutalist KFC that I saw recently. It's pretty
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Oh God, what?
What if we kissed at the brutalist?
That's what I saw.
This isn't my Segoy Colonel Chan.
God, it's got like
God.
weather stains on the concrete.
Oh, y'all gotta Google that.
Kentucky Fried
Wild.
Coldness.
Can,
Kentucky Fried Concrete. Woo!
for some reason, my mind went to Kentucky Fried Capitalism.
God damn it. I thought I had something. And then here you go.
It's that easy.
You gotta be quicker than that, Logan. But
There's also. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna desperately try and get a tangent. No, please save me.
No, I was gonna say. There's also. I know there was a 4E idea. I'm kind of lukewarm on it. On like the idea of like. I think they wanted to differentiate Duergar more by giving them quills. So they have like spiky beards, and they could like fire quills out of their beards, which I think is kind of stupid. But,
Why did 4E
God,
fail
they
so
did.
bad? The concepts that like they tried to be as unique as possible. Everyone said "fuck you," and then 5E was like, "Let's not. Let's just have a bunch of slave
I think-
races, and it'll be
God.
funny."
because I think
they look like the minor villains from a 90s bad cartoon.
because
They
I
look like
think
90s Jake Paul. Oh yeah,
I appreciate the unique idea. I think like the main reason why 4E failed was just because they threw out a bunch of shit.
oh the retcons and stuff.
There was a bunch of retcons. There's like a couple things. There was like a bunch of retcons. A bunch of people had the wrong idea of it. They assumed that it was going to be turned into like a video gamey kind of thing, which kind of yes, kind of
5E
no. But
did.
it was like, yeah. But it's like, well, I mean, I don't know. Like there's like
it's not really a debate.
it's neither here nor there. But it's like a thing of just fucking 4E. There's like a bunch of little things that turned 4E into like becoming like a failure, and 5E I think is them, because 5E takes a lot of 4E ideas too, which is very funny. Like the Raven Queen, for example, being a thing in 5E. Raven
I'm
Queen.
not a fan of the Raven Queen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not going to get started on that. I'll rant the rest of the video about that.
Let's do
But I would-
another video about the. I would be down for the Raven Queen as a topic.
That'd be an
Anyway,
yeah, but like
Well, I like the Raven
I would
Queen.
like-
I just don't like the fact they added her to Faerun and gave 2-paragraph description of why they did.
mm,
Yeah.
fucking but the idea with the little cool Duergar, I kind of like, in the idea of, I like the thought of mutations being something that starts to pop up in Duergar because they've been fucked with so much.
Mm.
And if they're like Duergar being like, I don't know, this very like mass production kind of people, I like the idea of them just having a huge population, and every now and then you get these little mutations that start to pop up from them.
Yeah.
Mm.
I like the idea
Yeah.
of them doing kind of mutating like that, but I kind of like, I don't know if brutalist is the right word for it, but I kind of like them being like the pseudo like sci-fi being in a fantasy world where they're doing it purely by psionics.
You know what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? Like at least the 4E designs?
Mm-mm.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Elaborate.
Like
The original one?
the first one. Yeah, the original one. Where the Goombas were like little dinosaur people.
oh,
'Cause a lot of that was about like evolution, de-evolution, re-evolution, which the Mindflayers should dabble with, considering the fact that they're a genetic augmentation of creatures that they touch. I'm doing a video on that. Mindflayers aren't like humanoids; they're worms. They start as worms,
literally.
they end as worms. They shouldn't be anything more. Anything else is blasphemous, which is why they're so scared of worms getting bigger.
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
because
no.
they get the fucking, what do you call them? The fucking,
It should be Neolithid, but they're
Yeah.
Neothilid. Because some fucking
Oh, I hate
idiot
that.
decided to have a typo and it carried through. I
I always-
recorded the whole video and then I go and Matt Mercy's like, Neothilid.
I fucking
No,
hate
no.
D&D. I hate the D&D names because a bunch of these fuckers don't even like think about how the hell it should be pronounced. Or so, I don't know. Neolithid is always how I said it because it makes sense.
Me too. And I thought because it's like Neolithid. Fuck, Neolithid is a new type of lithid, or sort of a reborn or rebirth.
Yeah.
And then illithid is it's the same prefix as internet, which just means interconnected. So this hive mind are the illithids, and the neo is the rebirth. It's the true birth.
Oh, that's fucking cool. I did not think about
it. Would be cool if they didn't fucking spell it wrong.
They didn't fuck it up. But
I'm imagining it's literally the experience we've all had as DMs. Like, oh, what's this thing called? What's this name? It's from Daryl.
That's literally how a bunch of it is, which I guess, you know, fair enough, because I'm sure a bunch of these started off with someone just made shit up at their table and they just
writing. So it wasn't even like meant to be spoken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, well, how do you spell that? The one person is taking the most diligent notes, and you're like,
well, that's I don't know.
They ignore phonetics in a lot of them. Like, what's the main one? Sahuagin? Sahuagin? Sahuagin?
I on purpose pronounce them wrong every time. I just come up with a new pronunciation.
Yeah, but that was
Sahuagin.
That was clearly written and not heard for the first time it was made. Yeah. And that's what I think is the issue.
There's video of, like, I think the daughter of the guy that made up the name. They just said, oh, he always said it different. He always just said a different thing.
Asshole. Actually, knowing that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I would do shit like that. If it, like, knowing it's on purpose makes me feel happier.
Yeah. That's good. And I feel like that's fitting for, like, this undersea, nearly Lovecraftian being. You can't even get the name right.
Yeah.
Their names are supposed to be spoken underwater, which is fucking stupid when you consider the fact that there is no illithid word for elder brain. I don't think there is one.
Yeah, elder brain. That's a weird one.
Why? Why is it not like the or something? Like anything.
I like
skibbity toilet.
An elder brain in a big toilet. Skibbity brain.
Skibbity brain. Fucking. But on Duergar, I just love the remix of them. I love the idea of, because they have like the qualities of dwarves. Like they have some, like if you like dwarves, these are like, this is like the same draw that I have where it's like, I think dwarves are neat. I think elves are okay. Like, but I've never been super compelled to do anything with them because they feel very like basic to me. But then you have like drow and you have Duergar, and I'm like, okay, well now there's a little flavor added here. There's a little something extra to these guys, and I feel like there's a ton to do. Or you could do a lot.
Women, isn't it, Mario?
Yes, but
women Duergar have beards.
And
God, yes. No.
Yes, please. Let me stroke your quills, babe.
Babe, let me see those quills.
How big them quills, babe?
Babe, what do you do something with your quills, babe?
That's a Futurama thing. Gur from Omicron Persei 8, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He got quill extensions or horn extensions, but they look like fucking quills.
So,
anyway,
I gotta ask, speaking of the evolution thing, do y'all know about Daros?
Yes, I do know about Daros.
Those are the deep gnomes?
Daros are a different Underdark race, a lot lesser known one. So they mainly had a bit of a minor role in Out of the Abyss. So there's conflicting legends on them. Some people believe they're a different Mindflayer the corrupted race, but other people believe they're actually Duergar that really just never got away from the Mind Flayers and just got worse and worse, because they are absolutely insane, like Underdark dwellers.
Oh, they're just like a nightmare form of the already nightmarish Duergar?
Yeah, they're just mentally broken and just weak and just very... And so, like, instead of getting all the benefits, just like these were thralls that were completely broken and just left alone.
Yeah.
So now
Which is
they're
to say, individualistically, they are insane.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
Yes.
not that they're super powerful or that they're smarter, they're just
No.
crazy and murderous.
yeah. No, I
They've
don't.
basically been like scrambled by the Mind Flayers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't even think they even have any special powers to them.
Not really.
They... No, they just use poison.
Yeah,
This is like
yeah.
This
They're
is like
that's
the reason
mentally
bad.
broken. Oh, they have magic
powerless.
resistance.
I get-
That's like the only thing they have.
I get the idea of them being like the Jero are one of those things of I'm sure there's been a story or something that they were like important to, but I can't find a good way to use them in a game. So what they just come off to me as, which I guess they kind of just are just like, oh, these are like if I were to make them something, it would just be like, oh, these are just like these what do you call them? Like they're just a type of Duergar. They're like a Duergar that's just been kind of I
Nearly
think
emaciated. In
Yeah, like-
the first edition art, they look like Ratman from Portal.
Yeah,
mm. If anything, I would just kind of make them my thought would just be like, oh, some Duergar are just kind of like born really scrambled out of like it's like again like from the offshoot, it's like you just have a bunch of them that are just kind of like off due to like all the psionic bullshit. I would want like if I wanted to use them for something, because I don't really have them pop up in my game. If I wanted to use them for something, I would add some more stuff to them. I would want to make them more I don't know, like make them more interesting, because in the end it's just like, yeah, these are just Duergar that are they just kind of suck.
Yeah.
They do have roots in like they have a I know that there's like lore, like Duergar culture tries to explain them, like in the idea of like, oh, there's like some creation idea as well, like some other idea of Lodiger, where it's just like, oh, one of Lodiger's worshippers made the Darrow in an attempt to like please Lodiger by being like, look, I could make the same thing that you make, and so basically he made like Duergar but better. And Lodiger was like, fuck you, how dare you try to like make my creation better. And so like he banished him, but on top of that cursed the people that he made to become like Darrow or something like that. And it was like that's why they're all fucked up looking, is because they've been cursed for whatever fucking reason.
I only had the experience with there's a Darrow NPC you got in Out of the Abyss. And he was one of my favorites just because he led to one of the funniest interactions we had in a game, where this Darrow believes he's literally the god of death. Like he believes he's Harbinger to the end. And his whole role in your camp is just sowing dissent and just trying to kill people off in camp in the middle of the night. And
there's like 3 other characters that do that too, though.
There's one character in Out of the Abyss that's actively going insane because he has his brain's affected by spores, but he isn't actively hostile toward you until...
There's the 2 siblings with a unique curse that do kind of fuck with the party a little bit. So at least them.
I don't remember them being hostile toward the party. I remember just being really secretive about the fact that were rats. You're talking about the 2 deep gnomes?
Yeah. I guess I might be thinking of Jacob's choice to make them more hostile.
Yeah, no, they're kind of just described as children.
There's like stuff
that's really sad.
I've used stuff from Out of the Abyss. I would definitely change a lot in Out of the Abyss just to make it more I guess work better for like a game, I guess. Like there's a lot with it where it's like some of the side characters start to feel a little redundant to me.
Yeah, I cut like half of them out in my game.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point, is they're supposed to be optional and they kind of drop off once the party picks a favorite or a couple favorites.
Yeah.
Because they all want to go different places. I think the general idea, though it's maybe not noted heavily enough, is there's these 10 little side characters. Where do you go? You will always have a guide no matter what. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, goodbye. They might help in combat if you need them to, but...
Yeah, just I didn't want to bog down an already six-person party, so
Yeah.
and that game encouraged you to have NPCs way too much. Like I love Out of the Abyss, but hate it at the same time.
20 fleshed out characters walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I leave.
But yeah, just that moment was since they all started in a Drow prison camp, they're all just like, yeah, we're all oppressed by the Drow. We need to get out of here. And
Heck out of here.
one of my best friends, Isaiah, was playing a dwarf, and they all like made the master plan. They're doing the escape where they just dive out of the camp and go into the lake below. And the thing is, you got to make a dex save to avoid a lot of spider webs. So he dives just for like sheer pure luck. Reaches the water, swims to the edge, and he's like, "I made it! My holy journey will continue. Nothing can stop me!" And and Isaiah just looked at the party and said, "Guys, he was in prison for a reason."
I love that. I remember when we escaped, I was playing a character who just was insane. And I was like, I speak to the pool and I thank it for catching us at the end of the waterfall. And there's a slime that secretly sits at the bottom of the pool that no other character would have been able to talk to. But because I was like, thank you, pool, it's like, bro.
Yeah, okay, man.
Yeah, whatever, man. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut up, man. Man, shut up.
Hey, shut up.
Man, fucking spurts water at you.
Slimes at you.
Just becomes a hyper-realistic, muscular beach guy and just starts splashing you.
Yeah. Who do you know here, bro?
Dude, shut up, bro.
Kicks sand at you.
You're scaring the chicks.
When you're casually talking, it sounds like he like came out of the water and like stood over me and started slapping my face a little bit.
You're scaring.
Who do you know here, bro? Who do you know?
No one's looking.
You're scaring away the goth drow chicks, bud.
You're scaring away the slime chicks, bro.
You're scaring the drow chicks. Get out of here, bro. All right, I'll see you later.
You're harshing the bride.
If my haystack wasn't already broken, that'd be the needle.
Like splashes back into the water. Who are you talking to, dude?
You're crazy, bro. Get out of here.
I would make that a reoccurring character. Like anytime you're near a body of water,
Just a Chad slime.
Chad slime to show us.
I don't even want to eat you, bro. You smell like fucking salt.
Straight up, Jublex's strongest soldier.
You'll out of nowhere, like if you're near a body of water, you'll get like a bardic inspiration or something, and it's just like a thing of like you look off to the side before you do something, and it's just like, you got this, dude. Bro, there's chicks watching.
That would actually be an awesome item. This is a huge detraction, but the idea of an item or a character who does both vicious mockery and like gives you guidance. Like underhanded compliments at every turn, so you're like taking psychic damage, but you're like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
I had a fucking there was a weapon I would give to people, like it was a thing that would show up in a bunch of campaigns, that it was just basically like a golden rod. When someone would grab it, I would tell somebody what weapon, like either I would make it whatever weapon they're using, or like turn it into something else, but it changes shape when someone grabs it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically all it does is when you attack with it, it has the same damage output as any normal weapon of that type, but when you swing it, it gives you a compliment. And I had like an idea of just like, oh, sometimes it'll give you bonuses, but it's just literally like if you hit somebody, it's like, nice job.
like a fucking Fisher Price. Like,
yeah, like a Fisher Price, like you did it. And like if you miss, it's like
great job.
I'm just imagining the
nice
Wii
cock.
Sport. Yeah, the Wii Sports thing. I was about to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice cock.
Like, nice
cock.
Strike.
Kilimanjaro.
First strike. Slay.
I can get close to that guy's voice, I think.
Kilimanjaro. Fucking
Quadra kill. poly relationship. Like, wait a minute. It's supposed to be penta?
Penta relationship.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Oh,
Yard sale. That's a thing, apparently. That's an actual thing you can get.
I forgot.
You're pretty on point with that fucking voice.
He's too busy being Moon Knight right now.
My God. Yeah, it's same fucking voice.
But,
I don't know if it's the same guy, but yeah, I can't unhear it ever since you pointed that out.
Fucking Duergar, though.
Yeah, Duergar.
Yeah.
They would never compliment you.
They wouldn't.
They would beat that slime to death, stick him in a big old engine, and poke him in with a stick until he gets psychic powers.
My favorite thing is they'll insult you in casual conversation without meaning it, which is why your first introduction in Baldur's Gate 3, one of them's like, "Put the fries in the bag, you fucking wanker." And you're like, what? They're like, "I'm just jerking you off." And then they walk away and you're like, "What just happened to me even?"
I'm just sucking your cock.
True soul. More like my only one and only soul. I'm joking.
My one and only.
I'm joking, unless.
Unless. This is a very beautiful boat ride through the Underdark we're riding in, isn't it? Just like put them on.
True soul, more like poo bowl. That's what you smell like.
I like the depiction of Duergar in Baldur's Gate. They were. Yeah. I feel like they did a good job with him. Honestly, that's like because. Go ahead.
No, I totally agree to the point where they're not necessarily evil. I mean, they're working for the absolute kind of, but it's their demeanor that if you're a neutral character, it kind of pisses you off. So you inherently think they're bad guys, and they're set up to be bad guys. You know, they're greedy. Like their three tenets are: I don't have any good emotions because they don't serve me. I don't want anything more than money, and I'm not out for anyone other than myself. But if you know that going in, they're very simple creatures. Well, you shouldn't take offense to what they say.
Yeah.
As selfish as they can be, there's also like I know I was looking up some stuff again before we started looking into this, but they do also have like this idea, kind of have like a communist idea sometimes of just like, oh well, no, we share everything amongst each other because that'll help us complete our goals faster. Of course.
Really?
Like, yeah, apparently it was like some idea of just like you know, because they make things in abundance, and like their whole thing is not about like making like the most decorated or the most beautiful kind of thing. They look to make things get the job done, but in that same sense, they're like there's a bunch of them. Yeah. So it's like this fucking thing of just like, oh yeah, we share all of our bullshit because we're all going for like a singular goal of like doing our thing when we're working amongst ourselves, or even if they're like teaming up with other people, it's this thing of like, yeah, we're like being one unit. We all have to be on it or we're gonna fuck up. So that's like their mindset.
Really cool.
Our absolute comrade.
So they are a clan still. All Duergar are descendants of the same dwarven clan, which is kind of scary knowing that was it Mordenkainen or Volo?
Mordenkainen for the thing that you said.
For the thing I said earlier is Mordenkainen.
Just the idea of Mordenkainen's like, yeah, this is the biggest dwarven clan I've ever seen, and they're fucking explode. I imagine they explode in population.
Yeah,
by local necessity would be my guess. Like if I were to design them, it's do we need more people here now? I imagine they just breed like rabbits anyway, and just like, okay, we have enough, go.
I'm assuming it's kind of like the old-timey farm mentality of you have so many kids just to run the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the word family is derived from slave culture. That's true. Look it up. I'm not even lying.
Nakama.
Listen, I've just accepted crazy stuff about the South, man.
Because
Familia, my 6 foot
I do like the little things, because there's a lot to set up dwarves to be, or not dwarves. There's a lot to set up Duergar to be assholes.
Yeah, because they are.
Yeah,
because they are. But there's little things here that make them more than just like they're not just they're not just evil or something like that. It's more like these are a very jaded people that have been fucked over by a lot of things, and this is why they're like that.
Yeah.
Jaded is the perfect way to put that. I think these guys, they're much higher than other monsters because for a lot of them, the writing doesn't explain why they're like that. And like I like character depth, and this is cultural depth because they're all like they have a combined history, and there are these tenets that they've formed because it has saved their literal lives going forward. So
I forget.
I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
Let me double check, but I forget if the 5e or the Duergar have this or not. But when I was looking into it, I usually try to, like Duergar here have just like Dwarvish and Undercommon. But something that I think is neat is there was an edition that had like a very specific Duergar language that was basically, it's Dwarvish, but it has like a lot of Illithid and like fucking Drow.
Yeah.
Terminology.
A lot of Drows. It's a descendant language, the specific language they speak. Which
I was
really
like,
cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Underdwarf.
Yeah, basically. Dwarf.
It's like it would have to actually sound really unique because it's a combination of deep speech, which is mostly spoken by aberrations in hiding or slaving monstrosities, and then the Drow, who I imagine have very sharp, aggressive tones and tones of speech, and then the old Dwarven, which is actually kind of sharp and emphasis on certain syllables or
honestly,
consonants, but.
I'd imagine
So it's got to be a very angry sounding language.
I'd imagine it's like a Spanish speaker hearing Portuguese, where it's like they recognize most of it, but it's still different.
Yes, that's immediately what I was thinking of. Like it's just like or like Romance language type stuff. Like
because Spanish and English are both romantic, right?
I don't think English is romantic, but
languages that I know are romantic are like French, Italian.
Yeah.
You got Spanish, Portuguese, obviously.
We're like the Hallmark version of romance. We water down the heck of that.
A Romanian? What the fuck is English?
We're just a watered down equivalent of whatever a romance language is supposed to be.
Indo-European.
It sounds wrong.
A Romanian.
Yeah, well, English sounds wrong. It's my least favorite language to use, and it's the only one I was taught.
Sounds like what's on my ancestry DNA. Ayo.
Like, I feel like there's a lot to work with Duergar.
Oh, for real. Like I always thought them as kind of just like a fun group in general, but I'm really having a lot of fun with the idea of just like the limits of their psionics, since they're pushing their body past like any reasonable limit, that empty machines are basically powered by their minds when it comes to pain machines.
They're also, I see them as very fun to adapt, and as we've been talking about sort of how they're industrious and authoritarian, if you were to take all these Duergar, take away their blatant warmongering, and put them all in three-piece suits, they would be just as scary. I would hate them a little more, actually. But they would function almost the same. Because there's characters like that would still be warmongering just as much. It's just the level of secrecy. So they wear it on their sleeves now, but if they tucked it back just a little bit, put up a front, they'd be businessmen.
Yeah.
And if anything, too, that kind of plays into like some of the stuff. Because Duergar aren't afraid to be like underhanded with certain shit. Like you could easily play into the idea of like, oh yeah, well, I remember having like a fun fucking thing of just my players. Well, I had like a setup where I basically had what's the city of Blade's name? Gracklestug.
Gracklestug, yeah.
Yeah, Gracklestug. Fucking I basically brought like a version of that into my game, and there was like a fun point where they ended up speaking with the king there, and it's like a kind of like as a display of like the shit that can go down sometimes is oh, the player walks into like the throne room and they just see the king by himself, and it turns into the players come in and they just see the king by himself, and like they don't see any guards or anything around here, and it just gets revealed that, oh no, they're all here. There's like a bunch of like people everywhere. They're just all fucking invisible because they're using psionics to fucking hide. And it's like, and then it like expands further. Like after they talk with the king, like explain certain stuff that's going on, and they continue on. They end up having this fucking moment where it's just Duergar just keep following them. They're like, they're just invisible. They're just watching them or some shit, just seeing what the fuck they're up to.
Yeah. My favorite underhanded thing they ever do is Thumber Chad. Do you remember Thumber Chad from Out of the Abyss?
Yeah.
Thumber Chad is just one of my favorite things in general, and I was genuinely just like pointing at the screen happy when he was in the Honor Among Thieves D&D movie. Just, that's such a fun concept of just a fat dragon that the Duergar have him just to run their forges. It's just a living fire engine. And their plan is they fattened him up to where he can never escape. But their plan is once he gets too big, they're going to kill him and replace him with a baby dragon.
Something that I did in my setting was I have a Themberchad. Or
Themberchad?
Themberchad.
Yeah, do you know Themberchad, Logan?
Thunderous Chad.
He's the fat dragon.
Oh yeah, the fat dragon from the D&D movie, yes.
Yeah, his lore is awesome.
What I decided to do with him was the idea was, oh, they figured out a way to basically like keep producing like through psionic bullshit. They figured out like some kind of ritualistic way of like basically having like a dragon have a child with like one of the other Duergar, and instead of it becoming like a fucking like half dragon, they figure out how to make like a wormling. And they do this every once in a while to basically keep producing red dragons. And the thing is, what they do is while it's in the egg, they just use psionic fucking abilities to just basically lobotomize it to an extent, to just make it like really fucking dumb. And that way it's easier to manipulate. And that's how
it just functions as like a guardian?
Yeah, basically. They just have like
just
this
a
idea.
Free breath weapon.
Yeah, so
actually, the idea.
Yeah, Thumberchad's whole thing is he actually is the fire that powers their forges in the
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so to go to like them doing more living, breathing like engines and power, they've used the whole dragon for that, where that's the whole thing is Thumberchad. They got this dragon trapped in this cave. They fattened him up so much to where he can't escape his own confinements. And they trying to keep him happy enough to where he never wants to leave. But their plan is, before he becomes an ancient dragon, to kill him, replace him with a baby dragon, and repeat the cycle.
What the hell would he look like in his human form? No, that's only chromatic dragons.
I use that for... I definitely do that anyways in my game because I like
more
the
fun.
idea.
Yeah, but canonically,
if I gave him a human form, I would just have him also be like a Duergar,
like a tubby Duergar.
Just a really fat Duergar.
My human form for him is Lumpy from Invader Zim. If you don't remember him, he is the classic Chad Haas of a man that said, "I ate too many pizza."
Hell yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch that shit.
No, Bloaty, that's his name. Bloaty's Pizza.
Oh, Bloaty. Yeah.
Yeah, I only recently started watching Invader Zim, and I love it. I had the weirdest moment when I watched Invader Zim, though. I realized my old emo girlfriend's personality was just Invader Zim quotes. I realized
pretty emo, man.
Half her conversations were just Invader Zim quotes, and I felt so betrayed when I realized you weren't quirky at all. You were pretending to be this thing you aren't.
You just wanted to be Invader Zim.
You never even played Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, that's terrible.
That is a real thing. She pretended to be a Kingdom Hearts fan, but when I let her borrow the game, she never played them.
That's fun.
Good fucking riddance, man.
That's such a...
That wasn't a good relationship. She even admitted years later we were very bad for each other. I wasn't bad
she
for
didn't
her
even
at
play
all. She
Kingdom
was
Hearts
bad
2.
to me. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat that. I'm good with you now, but you know good and well.
They're sitting there at home just like
They're watching.
I just wanted to learn about Duergar. I didn't think I'd start getting roasted.
I actually have mad respect for them just because they reached out to me years later and said they were sorry for how bad things went between us. So, like, I actually do have a lot of respect for them that they manned up to something they did when they were, like, 15 or 16, so...
Duergar would never do that.
My Sigoi Duergar would never break my heart like that.
They would never break your heart like that.
They would never make me buy them Hot Topic and then dump me.
They'd be part of... You'd be part of the clan.
You get all them discounts, man. All them flame bucks.
As long as you don't do something to put yourself in the pain machine, that is.
Would you do that? Would you take your Duergar GF to Hot Topic and do the buy two get one free shirt deal?
Yes.
Buy one, get two pain machines.
Babe, we're matching.
I'm just imagining them just getting a bunch of Kingdom Hearts pins, sticking them straight in their skin, not even into a backpack or a jacket. Fun stuff. I think we kind of covered how we use Duergar in our games already.
Yeah, for the most part, like, or at least
I don't go into the Underdark too much. I'm an asshole who doesn't actually really play in the Forgotten Realms too much. I just steal as much as I can.
Yeah, same.
To throw off my expert players.
Yeah, my plan is to not even add Duergar into my system in the Underdark. I'm fully plan on them being introduced into in like a Spelljammer like setting.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Imagine a Spelljammer just powered by pain.
That's stuff like that. Like, I really want to lean into the Warhammer-esque inspired ideas that I'm having.
Like, because the fucked up... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to make a bunch of, like, unique Spelljammer ships because that's such a mostly underexplored kind of region in the realm space.
Let's do it.
I was about to say, you know what a Duergar could do, too? Is thinking about the pain machines, because the whole reason the pain machines operate the way that they do is because Duergar, like,
it's psionics.
They would put, it's psionics, but it's the thing where I was like, well, they don't usually, like, in my head I was thinking they don't put like just anybody in there because it wouldn't work. Like, if you put a human in there, it would just fucking hurt them, but it wouldn't do anything. But what if they put a Mindflayer in there?
I don't think Mindflayers feel pain.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I highly doubt that they value their specific bodies once they've evolved.
What if you did it like they were able to cut off the Mind Flare from the colony? Because you'd have to do that anyways. Like they stuck a Magneto helmet on them, basically.
Like a Magneto what?
Like a Magneto helmet, something that like just limits their telepathy.
So it would gain a level of individuality. It's a question up to what that Mind Flayer's current status is as to whether or not they would want to go back to the colony. Because the Emperor, before he was a Mind Flayer, had such a strong persona almost before he was severed from the colony. He chose not to join one. So the idea is whether or not they're like a drone as a person, basically. And also how long they've been a Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting if someone started hunting down Mind Flayers with the ability to sever them. Just to cut them off.
Thinking that, or like making like a Neolithid, like a just metal worm would be insane.
A metal worm?
Yeah.
A big old metal worm.
Like a big pain worm?
Yeah.
So the cool thing about Neothelids is they're the only creature with this absolute power, I think. And unless you're casting like a high level spell, that's the only exception. Within a mile radius of their current location, they can detect the distance, quantity, and intelligence of everything in that entire radius that is more intelligent than a basic mundane beast.
Interesting.
So they can dox a Mindflayer hive in like 1 second. They can find a full census count and like test scores of any town that they pass nearby. They're very spooky.
They're like Goku.
Yeah. They can do little energy balls.
They sense the presence of everyone and then they teleport them.
No, okay, one pain machine you might be able to make. What if they put a bunch of cranium rats in a big old bucket and it just launched itself at people?
They fucking. Can you imagine?
Actually horrifying.
I love the thought of just Duergar like, we could improve this, and like they're just crazy fuckers that are just like, I got a bunch of rats and I fucking put them in the box.
Yeah, just put a bunch of cranium rats. You just like make them just like a Rat King equivalent.
The more rats I put in the barrel, the louder the screams in my head got. Let's fling it.
So we found a big fucking worm and we put it inside of the pain machine.
Good, put another worm in there.
More worms, more rats,
more worms,
more pain.
More pain. Hit it with a taser every now and then.
Oh, fuck. It's like Duergar fucking just going, they're like blasting through an illithid colony, and it's just this idea of like the illithids just being like, you cannot defeat us, and like they go, yeah, but he can, and just like a fucking giant like
ball of rats all tied together.
just a bunch of rats on like a wheel.
Yo,
it's like a
big brutalist pain hamster wheel that they're all just like barreling through like a city wall through.
It's like
cranium rats are fucking scary.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the worm, but I love the idea of just like you just have a bunch of hamster wheels. Like there's like a taser in the middle that keeps shocking the rats, and it's just powering this fucking mecha.
Now I'm just imagining like sitting in the middle is one Duergar for Whips going, yeah, yeah.
It's some fucking Megas XLR shit where it's just a Duergar up on top, like just slamming a bunch of buttons, just fucking.
Oh, like those fancy comedy organs where he's like throwing plates and tossing them and like pulling all these bells and whistles and horns are going. I was thinking of like he's got a cat of 9 tails, but it actually has 9 cats at the end, and they're all chasing the rats as he whips them.
I'm adding that to my list. I like that way too much.
A cat of 9 cat tails.
Just your cats just.
And the rats are like, oh fucking Christ.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! Rats are projecting their thoughts. It's like, oh god! Oh!
The idea of pain factories in D&D is really fun if you're faintly sadistic.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it in just the sense of there's really like there's fucked up but really goofy things to do with it. Like even with there is a point where when I used pain machines, I had some of the Duergar turn large, pick up a pain machine, like one of the fucking hammerers, and just throw it at somebody. And since it would get pain from like the fall damage, it activates a thing where it's like, oh, when it gets attacked, it can use a reaction to just hit the nearest thing. So because the machine is going overtime from feeling excess pain. So it's just like it's throwing strays at people while it's like landing on the ground. It's
like adjacent swarms of rats just spilling out of the pain machine, and they're like, oh fuck. Well, get 'em, boys.
That'd be a really scary idea, is the pain machine is a Duergar in a pain machine full of rats, and the rats are what's causing him pain. And it's just like a cycle for both of them.
Speaking of rat pain machines, have you ever heard of a really hot barrel?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, that's what I said, like throwing the bucket full of cranium rats at first, of just a bunch of psychically enhanced rats trying to eat through you.
Another thought that I had about it too is just a Duergar that gets used to the pain machine. and he just like is numb to it, or he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. So it's just
I forget who said this, but that's a real psychological phenomenon where if a torture victim who you need information from gets into a certain headspace where they find the pain you're dealing to them erotic, you have to kill them. There's no way you're ever going to get answer from them again.
We went full circle. That's the whole point of Hellraiser.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
They get
But yeah, no, that's a real thing. They're like, well, fuck, he's a useless.
such sights to show you.
Yeah.
Look, personally, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool. You should put me back.
They've cut off my dick and sewed it back on 17 times here. Look at my stitches. I don't know. It gets better each time, but eventually they turn you away.
They won't do it anymore. I just craved a device, but they won't give it to me. What a fun concept.
Duergar, what a concept.
Yeah. But a bunch of just little in pain dudes that kind of get into it after a while.
They're so sick of joy that they're just like, I want that other thing.
I want that.
And then they wage war and they start capitalism.
Yay.
Yay.
This is the only way they could get hard anymore, so they waged war.
I would too.
That's a scary thought.
No, I wouldn't. That's not that valuable to me.
Okay.
I promise.
If it comes between war and cum, I think I'll take neither.
I think I'll sit in my room and play Rust.
I think I'll try to find a way to get some nude mods on Marvel Rivals and just relax with a glass of wine.
I love every route just leads to asexuality.
Right. That's Ascension. I'm detached from all forms of bits.
Yeah.
Are we gonna rate these guys? How far are we?
We're like an hour and 10 minutes, so we are getting to the route.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning on a 5 out of 5 for these two.
Shit. I'm not gonna lie either. I think a solid flat 4 feels really good for me with these guys.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be the middle ground, but I was thinking of this number since the beginning. I was also thinking of 4.5. I don't know if a solid 5 is where I want him to be.
Nah.
But
I'll stick with
you could do a lot with them weirdly, and they lend themselves, like the whole business suit idea. They lend themselves really well, and you don't have to make major adjustments. Like the less a monster makes you as a dungeon master work, I think the better it is.
Yeah.
Because like legitimately, I just grabbed
unless it's hags.
I grabbed Gracklstug and like Duergar and just slapped them into my game, and I didn't really have to change much to like at most it's like little things of just like, okay, here's how they can become like more plot relevant, but like for the most part it's pretty solid.
Yeah. They don't need to be more. They're a problem, but like not an urgent one, and I love that.
Yeah. And it's like a thing where it's just like the players, there's enough where the players are like, I could work with you.
Yeah.
So
you're not as bad as the Drow, in my opinion, right now.
Well,
I think they're definitely cooler than the Drow, but that's a whole other matter.
I would say they're better than the Drow. Just that's going to sound really antagonistic. They are not zealous slavers, is the word I would use.
Yes,
yeah.
honestly, yes.
They take their own time with stuff, and they don't revere like something outside themselves. That they're like, oh, I need to appease this. It's no, appease you. They're like little Satanist people.
Even for their religion. Yeah. Even for their religion, they are very. It is very like self-centered, kind of like self-serving, of just like, don't be figure things out yourself, kind of thing. I like them.
They're not good
Yeah,
boys, and they don't give a shit if you like them. But god dang it, I like them.
Yeah, I was about to say they're very utilitarian, brutalist. They fit in a really unique little niche amongst all monsters for that, and that's something that kind of draws me to them. And I like that they're really good low game enemies, but except for the stuff we talked about, there's potential for some bigger stuff there that can be fun.
Which is, I think that is really what makes it for some of these. Like, compare them to, like, where we place goblins, where it's, like, good for low-level stuff. You could definitely see where they could be a big... Like, see where they're good for higher-level stuff, too.
It's great, because it's not even just like, oh, the numbers need to increase exponentially. It's it's what situation you're in with them determines their power, and that's sick because both them and goblins can cultivate situations where they are CR1 or CR25. It's great.
Yeah, and also the psionics is what really pushes over the edge for me. I like that. There's a lot of unique aspects to them that not a lot of D&D races have. They're like, okay, this is good. This is what I like to see. And yeah, them being a thing since 1E as well kind of puts that in perspective. He's like, okay, they've only built on these things ever since they are introduced. That's cool. That's good progress. So that's my feeling on it.
Agreed. Yes. Solid dudes.
They're solid. Like solid, like a rock, you can say, Mario.